What is going on, Earth 2 novice enthusiasts and everyone in between? Thank you for tuning in for another episode. I've been crazy busy. I had my parents in town, and I was able to carve out a good chunk of time on Saturday. For those of you who tuned in on Saturday, thank you for tuning in. That was the longest I've ever streamed before. I think I did about 5.5 hours. And that, of course, was for the Dubai, the UAE release. And for those of you who missed out on it, let me try to summarize it. As I anticipated, if you saw my other videos, I knew there were going to be some crashes. I knew this was going to be some heavily sought after real estate, and it definitely was. So much so that it basically immediately started crashing the servers. I had plenty of devices. I bought some Ethernet cable, like last minute. I was like, you know what? I shouldn't even chance it with the Wi-Fi. And it's been years since I've hooked a laptop up to Ethernet. I've been on Wi-Fi like everywhere I go. So I ordered some Ethernet cables, ran them from the router to my MacBook, another laptop. I had 2 cell phones ready to go, as well as an iPad. And I was just ready. I had tabs open, multiple tabs on each one of them. Then each device was already zoned in on a specific area, and I thought I was ready to go. And much to my chagrin, and many of the, I think I had several hundred people follow or watching as well at that time, and that's the biggest live streaming audience I've ever had. So this was definitely a monumental event, but it started crashing like right away, and I started shutting down tabs, thinking, oh, maybe I got too many tabs open. And then after I shut down tabs, I started shutting down devices and taking things off of Wi-Fi and disconnecting the Ethernet until I was down to 1 device. And I still, 2 devices. I was doing my MacBook and my cell phone, going back and forth. And basically Shane Isaac, the CEO, said that within the first 30 seconds, they sold 555,000 tiles in 30 seconds. I think he said 30 seconds to a minute. They weren't super precise on that, but 30 seconds, a minute, whatever amount of time, that's still a ridiculous amount of tiles to be sold. But as I said, they had a lot of interest. One thing that he mentioned after the fact, and they apologized. There was a lot of frustration in the group. I admit that at one point I started getting frustrated as well, but it wasn't frustrated at the team, because there was never a moment where I thought that the team, the Earth 2 team, did this intentionally. I knew that it was despite their best efforts. I know they've been working like mad men and women to bring this to fruition with, as smooth of an execution as possible. But at the end of the day, this is a monumental feat that they're undertaking, and the amount of response it's crazy. Throughout a lot of it, I kept on trying to remind everybody, this is good. This means that we're on to something. If this many people are behind it, that means that there's definitely interest. Take into consideration the fact that they have not spent a dime on marketing yet. They've just recently started. I think they just recently announced that they signed a 6-figure marketing deal. So this is only going to get crazier. And we all know, most of us know, they held off. I've discussed this before. They held off on the trailer video because that's just going to bring more interest and more demand. And they're already having issues keeping up with the demand that is already in existence without marketing, before the trailer, before all this other stuff that is probably going to be, rolling out. We're not even at phase 2 yet. Once phase 2 starts, once phase 3 starts, this is going to be absolutely insane. So I wouldn't be surprised if they push some of these releases off just to give them the chance to keep up with the organic demand that they have right now. Because as I said, they're not trying. yet. This is them not even trying. What they're trying to do is catch up with servers and customer service while also building something that's never been done before. Nothing on this scale has ever been accomplished before, or even attempted. People argue, Decentraland is comparable, but Decentraland is nothing. As I mentioned in the live stream, I think I gave the analogy of like Decentraland would be like a Super Nintendo compared to like a PS5. Like, yeah, they're video games, but that's about where the similarities end. You might even want to say, no offense to Decentraland, because that is an awesome project in and of itself, but it would have to be completely redone from scratch, basically, in order to come up with something that would even compete, even be remotely comparable to what Earth 2 is going to be. Just because the scale, the graphics, there are a lot of things that you can compare and say that they're very similar. And honestly, if you're not familiar with Decentraland, go on Decentraland, sign up for a guest account, completely free. You can go around in Decentraland and play around and check out what people have built and see what kind of stuff is in there. There's games within the game, so it kind of gives you the idea of what could happen and get the idea of the secondary commerce and tertiary commerce that could be set up in these virtual worlds, because it already exists in Decentraland, but the scale at which it will be executed in Earth 2 is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. But as I was saying, you have to look at these things for the silver lining and consider the fact that the servers were crashing because a lot of people were in on it. A lot of people had interest. People from all over the world at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time were logging in and crashing the server to buy up the UAE, and the price skyrocketed. Now, I was fortunate enough, after it took me, I want to say it took me probably like 3 hours before I was able to make my first purchase. Now, some of the people who were watching the live stream, some were able to get some land immediately. I wasn't sure who was, being a troll and really got some land, or who was, just trying to, bust people's chops, and they said they got land, but they really didn't. I'm going to believe everyone who said they got land. I don't care if you're a troll or not. I know not all of them were lying, at least. But yeah, some people were able to get some land and their purchases went through. We had some people who said that they had the confirmation, they got a confirmation email, and then they got a refund email or refund notice through email. So a lot of crazy stuff was going on. I think they are still going through the process of releasing the illegitimately acquired land. Basically, any land that was purchased between, I think he said, mid-November to prior to that day on March 20th at 2100 UTC time, or 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anything purchased between those times was when the UAE was restricted, and they were going through and trying to figure out how to basically take that land away. I guess they were giving the original purchasers the refunds. I don't know what would happen in the situation where Bob breaks the rules and gets the land, and then he sells it to Steve, and Steve doesn't know any better. He bought it on the secondhand market. So it wouldn't be Steve's fault, but at the same time, it was like, you're in possession of stolen property, basically. So I don't know what the process would have been like to get Steve his money back and give Bob the slap on the wrist. But I know that was something they were working on very diligently. Based on what I saw, it doesn't look like they were able to get all of that land released back to the open market. So I would anticipate we might still see, go down to the crowded areas that are completely bought up right now. Keep your eye on them, because I've seen gaps, and I don't know if those gaps were just stuff that was overlooked or if it's stuff that's been released because it was found to have been purchased illegitimately and they were just unable to get to it prior to the release. I know it's something they're working on very hard. Obviously, in a perfect world, they would have been able to do all that. The price would have dropped to 10 cents, but I believe the price opened at, when I saw it, the cheapest price that day before it opened was 15 and a half cents, which is still great. My purchases were, I'll have to look through my profile to give you an average of what the tile price was. I was buying around the entire UAE. I didn't just stick to Dubai. Dubai's price shot up very quickly, as I predicted it would. I did buy some spots in Dubai, but to be honest, I'm super interested in the oil and the resources, and knowing that there was such a high demand for Dubai and that the price would jump up so quickly. I also had I did some research and found oil fields in Abu Dhabi. I didn't feel comfortable buying up the water. I know they have a lot of oil fields that are out in the Persian Gulf. They're out in the water. If I have the availability to buy oil fields that are on land versus the oil deposits that are underwater, I'm just going to go with the land, because I wouldn't have to terraform it or build an island. I can just start right away. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It might be easier on the water. There might be more oil out there, but I've got other videos that, I show you guys how I find oil fields, how I find gold mines, what I look for. It is now confirmed. And in a lot of previous videos, I've mentioned how it was somewhat speculative to think that oil would have value. And I've constantly mentioned, every time it comes up, I based my assumption that oil would have value, even though it seems counterintuitive to have fossil fuels in a virtual world when we could easily just skip that and go to some other kind of source of power. They are going to have oil as one of the very, not only is it going to be a resource, but Shane basically alluded to the fact that it will be a prevalent and important resource. And again, my speculation was based on, before they really confirmed it, one of the developers used oil as an example of a resource when they did their live stream. So I would think that they wouldn't be haphazard about the examples they're using for resources when they're discussing resources. The one resource I recall him using as an example was oil. So I've been pretty confident in my oil purchases. As far as the precious metals, I did get into, I think I've bought up nickel and copper, but not a whole lot. I focused heavily on gold. Another one that I kind of rolled the dice with was some salt mines. Found some salt mines, bought up some salt mines. I've got a video where I show you guys how to find salt mines, gold mines, copper mines, oil fields, and all that jazz. I have I think it was like an 8-stage process. Here nor there. You can check out those videos. Maybe they'll be popping up. Maybe I already had them popping up. I don't know. But there's links below. Search my channel. And if you fill out the form below, actually, I'll send you some videos that show you how to find the general process of how to find it, but also some specific fields that I've personally bought that were the cheapest at the time. I haven't looked around, but I'm assuming they're still probably among the cheapest gold and salt mines in Earth too. But in any case, I think it was, a success. I will say it was a success, because despite the fact that they had to shut down the servers multiple times, shut down the site multiple times, restart the countdown multiple times, I think enough people, if they were able to stay persistent with it, I think the majority of people were able to grab up some land. They also said that while initially they suspected that there were bots involved, click bots buying stuff, they later confirmed that for the most part, the purchases actually turned out to be legitimate. So that's good news. I'm sure we'd all be a bit more frustrated if we got screwed over by, cheaters and cheaters winning. And one thing that I've mentioned in other videos, and this is coming right from Shane, they're looking for fairness. They want to keep this as fair as possible. So if you are caught breaking the rules, They are watching everything. This isn't something where it's like a convenience store where the clerk went in the back and you're going to steal a candy bar and get away with it. No, they are watching every single transaction. And if you're, making transactions that are too rapid, they're probably going to assume that there is a bot involved. And they probably, I don't know how they figure this out. I'm assuming it's based on the frequency, the time between transactions, whatever. They're going to just take your land away. I feel like they've put out enough warnings, and they probably feel they put out enough warnings to not have to hear your side of it. They're just going to take your land and put it back out on the market so that the people who are playing by the rules are going to be able to have a fair shot at purchasing it. I know they're also, I mentioned in other videos, so I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but they've done stuff to fight pumping. They've done stuff to fight to better secure your accounts. I highly suggest you have your two-factor authentication active. It is a little bit of a pain to have to put in those 6 digits and go to your app or whatever, but I'm so used to doing it. Every single one of my cryptocurrency accounts is protected by two-factor authentication. So it's something that if you've got any assets or any substantial amount of money behind it, you should have it at least as secure as your bank account. In fact, my crypto accounts are more secure than my bank account. So how's that for irony? But in any case, yeah, if you missed out on Saturday, it was crazy. It was 5.5 hours of craziness, nail biting, frustration. I think I kept the swearing at a minimum. I did start off with coffee, and then I got into vodka just because it was one of those days. And like I said, I think it took me over 3 hours before I was able to make my first successful purchase. So it is what it is. I'm happy I was able to have the time to stick with it. It would have really sucked if I allocated, half hour in my day to make the purchase and nothing would have happened. So I'm happy. Could I have gotten stuff cheaper? Yeah. But everything's more expensive now than when I purchased it. And I feel like I got some good spots. I was able to buy into at least 2 different mega cities. I'll be honest, the vodka keeps things a little fuzzy. I know at one point I was treating you guys to some magic tricks that I recently started learning. I'm not really a magician or anything like that, but I've learned 3 magic tricks from YouTube. And during one of the resets of the countdown, I I think I did some magic for you guys. But all in good fun. Hope you guys had a good time. If you were able to check it out. I got my first 3 tips from 2 different individuals, but I've been on YouTube for, it's going to be 2 years in July, and I've never streamed that long before, never had that many people watching a live stream before, and I've never received tips before. And I got 3 different tips. I forget the first gentleman to tip me. I want to say Dan or Derek. I'm completely wrong, but I know Abdul was the second one and the third one to tip me. Forget my fingers. So Abdul, if you're watching, thank you very much. That meant a lot. Now that money, I'm just going to kick it right back into the communal account for you guys. And as you guys know, if you've been watching me for a while, you use my code, it goes to a communal account, not my personal account. And from that communal account, I purchase land, and then weekly I give that land away. So it goes right back out to you guys. Tips, I'm going to do the same thing. Any tips that come in, I'm going to credit those towards the communal account, and that'll just go towards more land that I'll buy, give away to you guys. And then if you want me to use your referral code, or if you want to sign up for the free land giveaway, go ahead and hit that contact form. Now, if you are brand new, I have made a decision that the people who are brand new to Earth 2, just to, in the whole vein of trying to be like the Earth 2 team, where they want to encourage new people to come aboard. You're new, you're buying stuff more expensive than a lot of us. I'm sorry. Can't undo that. What I can do is if you fill out the contact form, you show me that you're new by sending me a screenshot showing that you used my referral code for your first purchase. Thank you so much. That means so much that you trusted me to guide you into Earth 2. And I look forward to continue bringing this information to help you navigate Earth 2. But you will also be entered into a chance for not only me using your referral code, but also to win your choice of either one of the mines. I said gold mines, but if you want salt mines or copper mines or nickel mines, you have the chance between some of the UAE property that I picked up, and I did pick up some UAE property specifically with the intention to give away to the noobs. But if you're like, screw the UAE, I'd rather get me some gold mines or whatever mines you have, when you win, we'll connect and I'll basically say, here's where the gold mines are, here's the UAE stuff. Now, UAE, all my property in UAE is class 2. I think I did get some class 3. I think Dubai, I got class 3 because it bought so quickly. And that was one thing that threw me off. Class 3, even though it's sold over 300,000, they still have class 3 available, or at least they did when I was purchasing it, because I definitely wasn't part of the initial several 100,000 that were purchased. But I was still able to scoop some class 2 and some class 3. If you guys aren't familiar with land classes and you're that new, no problem. I've got a noob beginner series. And if you wanted to search specifically for some videos that explain the classes, land classes, and phases, you could just type in classes or phases in my channel search, and you'll be able to see those videos. But I suggest you watch the noob playlist. Now that playlist, those videos are on both of my channels, but that playlist specifically is already put together on Earth 2 News. So if you're not watching this on Earth 2 News, that's my second channel, obviously dedicated, as the name would hint, towards Earth 2 content specifically. You could still find those videos, but it's going to be you having to put them together piece by piece. I have a dedicated playlist on Earth 2 News that is just the beginner's playlist. It covers all the beginner content, not so much high level stuff and the theoretical, speculative, kind of highbrow stuff. Get into those videos as well, so you can kind of see where everything's going and some of the expectations in deeper kind of content. But for the beginner level stuff, I want to, especially make content for new Earth 2 people, because when I first started, everyone was new. And now it seems like everyone is getting into talking about crypto and NFTs and more advanced development stuff and deeper into specific games that they think are going to be hosting and 3D modeling and all sorts of other stuff. And that's cool. But I know that's pretty intimidating when you're trying to get your feet wet in, anything, whether it's, crypto or Earth 2 or stock trading. If you go right into the deep end of the pool, it might scare you away from learning how to swim. Whereas if we come in through the shallow end and we get comfortable and then we start venturing out into the deep end when we're ready, I think you're going to have a much better experience. So I try to provide that content for you as well. I go deep, I stay shallow, I do a little bit of both. But, so it's all there for you. So check out the beginners playlist. Again, there's also going to be a link. Check out the links below in general, the links in the show notes. If you're not on the right channel, I invite you to subscribe to both. I'd appreciate it. I love having more subscribers and eyeballs. The Earth 2 content does go to both, but Earth 2 News is more exclusively Earth 2 content, and also goes there faster. That's where it will post first. But then the links below, there's the contact form that I mentioned before, put you in the referral raffle, put you in the land giveaway raffle. And then there's also going to be a link that will get you to Earth 2 News if you want to just find it really quick instead of searching the YouTube interwebs. But yeah, subscribe, turn on those alert notifications. Another benefit of that contact form is you'll be put on my email list, which will get faster alerts sometimes than, and I don't have time to put, a video together. Sometimes I'll bang out a quick email or just do a quick blast about something new, a new development, or something that I've got coming up in probably a new video that I'd get to in the next couple of days. But yeah, in any case, thank you guys so much. I apologize for taking a couple of days to get a video out. I wanted to do a video specifically on the aftermath of the Dubai, the UAE release. And I hope you guys were able to get some. It's now available. So go ahead and get you some. Like I said, the UAE is all open. It's 7 different countries. So if Dubai looks a little bit too expensive for you, if you're new and you're not comfortable paying those prices, go ahead and grab some of the other stuff. There will be other countries coming out as well. So if you feel like you missed the boat, don't worry. I can't promise the experience is going to be any better, because while they will be beefing up the servers for next time, we're also going to have more eyeballs for next time. They're probably going to have some ads out. This is going to be more proven. So one of the analogies that I gave is, the best time to buy Bitcoin or Tesla was when a lot of people were still doubting it. Now that Bitcoin's hit 60 grand, and there's institutional investors in, it's not the best time to buy it. You wish you bought it at 10 cents, right? You wish you bought Tesla at, $250, right? Well, there are other opportunities in Earth too. It will continue to grow. I think even though some of the prices seem crazy high, this is still just the beginning, and only more and more people, it's not even a year old yet. So only more and more people are going to get in on it. Ready Player 2, the book, just came out in November. They're working on the movie. That's going to bring more people in. The ads are going to bring more people in. The additional phases are going to bring more people in. And again, check out those videos. They discuss the additional phases and laying class and all that fun stuff to bring you up to speed. But yeah, so long story short, this is still just the beginning. And this isn't financial advice, but if you're concerned about the prices, people have been concerned about the price the whole way. If you look at some of the older comments, you'll see people saying like, wow, the US is already at $10. That's crazy. It's so expensive. When I got in, it was at like $3.78, I think. The first day I got in, I was buying stuff up. The next day it was at $4. And when it hit 10, people are like, oh man, I saw your old videos from last week when it was at 10. And then like a week later, a week and a half later, it was at 20. People are like, oh, that's crazy. It was at $10. Now it's at 20. It's at $52 right now, I think. And someone's going to be watching this video in not too long, and they'll be like, wow, it was below $100 not too long ago. It's going up. So wish you guys the best of luck. Be safe. Don't invest anything you can't afford to lose. Remember, this is all just a game, and I'm not just talking about Earth 2. I'm talking about this whole crazy life thing. So don't take it too seriously. Have fun. Be careful. Do your research. Like, subscribe, fill out that contact form, hit the alerts, drop me some comments, interact. It helps with the algorithm, gets YouTube showing you more of my stuff. And thank you so much for your support. I was overwhelmed by the amount of support that I had. We had some trolls in the group. We had some people who were hating on Earth 2, and yet they were watching my live stream on Earth 2 for hours. Not going to mention any names, Nico. But yeah, we had some people trying to throw salt in our Kool-Aid. But, I just put some vodka in that Kool-Aid and made it a cocktail. But you guys have an amazing day, evening, morning, whatever's going on wherever you are. Enjoy it. Make it awesome. And be safe out there.